Ya estamos de regreso en tu programa Detrás del Cine y antes de continuar, quiero agradecer a todas las personas que están en contacto con nosotros a través de nuestras redes sociales en www.facebook.com/Detrás del Cine. También a las que nos dejan sus comentarios en el canal de YouTube y por supuesto a las personas que nos están sintonizando a través de TV Lobo en el canal 4.1 de su señal abierta y en su canal 215 de Megacable. Pero pues vamos a continuar con el Detrás del Cine de la película Gigantes de Acero.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to show you my rope, man. Let me see if I can do it.
Yeah, Mark. Wow. That's awesome. That's what it was supposed to look like. That's great, man. Going fast.
Sean said to me, it's really important that people believe that you're a boxer. I said, absolutely. And he said, so I was thinking of bringing in Sugar Ray to work with you. And I was like, yeah, I think that might work.
So, Hugh, show us your right cross and Ray, any tips? How's that look?
He's a good student.
Guys?
He listens well, and he takes it in, he digests what I say, and it comes to life.
I was a little intimidated meeting him at first, particularly getting in the ring instead of boxing with him.
Here. I'm out.
Yeah.
Actor. Pretending to be tough.
His form is good, and it's little adjustments here and there. You know, Hugh being an athlete and being in incredible shape, he caught on quite well.
My dad was a boxer. I actually didn't know this till I was about 15. My dad was the Army champion. When I told my dad I was doing a film and was working with Sugar Ray Leonard, I don't think I've ever seen my dad more amped or more jazzed in my life. He said, of all the people who have boxed, there's probably no one more respected than Sugar Ray. He invented moves, he invented punches that no one had ever done before.
You know, when he was brought in, he lent a little bit of flavor. You know, this is what I would do when I was boxing against Hagler. This is what I would do when I was boxing against Duran.
Series of these punches.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, then he goes here.
It was interesting to watch the champ take liberties with the choreography, even while some of it was super authentic. For instance, in Crash Palace, when Noisy Boy fights Midas, I'll take anything more violent than that.
How dirty can you be?
Unlimited dirty.
Oh, no.
Flag recall! You couldn't even do that at a UFC fight, but you can do it with robots. Oh no!
I'll tell you a little story. I'm working with a guy in New York, just sort of preparing to meet Sugar Ray because I didn't look like a complete doofus, you know. And Sean sent me a tape of the shadow boxing that I would do. And so I showed it to Michael, who I was working with. And he just started laughing. I said, what's that? He goes, there's a lot of left. There's a lot of Sugar Ray in there. And when I came to him, I said, a lot of left. And he goes, how do you know? And to have Sugar Ray teaching me, and then to ultimately have a robot doing his moves, that's cool, man. That's about as cool as it gets.
The greatest relationship is trainer-boxer.
Yeah.
Sugar Ray would tell us stories of Angelo Dundee, who, you know, was Ali's corner man and would come in to be in Ray's corner. And the connection between the corner man and his fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
make
that's
him
right.
feel what you throw him.
Because my character goes from being a boxer early on in his career to being a cornerman. Just talking about what you have to do as a cornerman to give confidence to your, you know, to your boxer.
Watch me.
You know you're talking to a robot, right?
I know.
Which I know sounds a little weird talking about Hugh with a robot. But it really influenced the way Hugh played the scenes in the corner and the intensity of what it means to be that guy ringside.
Work the body! Get inside! Get him out!
It's that contact to your fighter.
Yeah.
Come on. You know,
That's a really good point. Because actually, it's where he tips over into all like coach and speaking, not to a robot, to a...
Right, to his fighter.
yeah.
To his fighter.
Yeah.
Just to meet him was cool, but to actually be taught by him was great.
This is the one Michael gets me to that kills me.
Oh, that's yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, that's brutal!
That's
That's this one's burned. Like, oh, that is not easy.
When we were working in the gym, we were just talking about what it's like to be in that world, what it's like to prepare for a match.
Walking from the dressing room is one of the most frightening, or if not exciting moments for a boxer, because the boxer knows in that dressing room whether it's going to be a long night or it's going to be his night.
I want you to be relaxed, okay, Max? No freaking out. Don't get all freaky-deaky on me. You go freaky-deaky, this whole thing can go south.
He was very open to me about his own personal life and how boxing is one of those sports that can consume you. It's about climbing Mount Everest, about being the champion of the world. It's not the champion team, it's the champion. He said, you make sacrifices. That really spoke to me, because Charlie has made a lot of sacrifices. And I think he feels that not all of them are worth it. And he made some mistakes. And now he's got a second chance. He's going for it. But he's not going to make the same mistake again of sacrificing the wrong things. We got the Zeus fight.
What?
No, we didn't. You got the Zeus fight.
And so the ways that Sugar Ray Leonard contributed were both overt and more subtle and just really, really valuable.
You walk into a ring, you know, all fighters, they look down and you see a little bit of blood, you say, wow. And you know what? This is a very serious four squares. It's now or never, put up or shut up, and when the bell rings, your heart rings. Boom.
Sin duda, el pequeño Max es uno de los personajes más importantes de esta película, pues es él quien encuentra al robot Adam, quien le da un giro totalmente diferente a lo que fue programado.
Tonight, WRB's undefeated Real Steel champion, Zeus, takes on his challenger, Adam, the surprising underdog trained by former middleweight boxer Charlie Kenton. This unlikely toe-to-toe has been hyped by many as a modern-day David and Goliath. Adam rocked the robot boxing community earlier this year in an undercard fight that garnered more attention than the main event.
This was unprecedented. This is the first time you've got a bot from the underworld going up against official WRB bots.
I've never seen a sparring bot fight an actual boxing bot.
All the other robots, they're big, they're strong, and Adam is quick, and he fights like a human.
That's what made the difference to the Twin Cities fight. No one's talking about it, but humanity is back in the ring. That's what's going on here. I mean, I think the shadow mode has a lot to do with that. And if the Lemkovas were smart, they'd be watching Charlie Kenton.
I don't care enough about him to discuss. Next question.
Charlie Kenton is excrements of an extinct sport.
Charlie Kenton, a relatively unknown human boxer, found himself in the limelight that avoided him during his boxing days.
It's been a long time since I've been on ESPN. Last time I was on some highlight reel, I was getting my ass kicked.
I got some respect for him. I mean, he's a big guy and he got a decent vibe, but I don't think he got no chance there.
I think what we're going to see on Saturday night is kind of opponent that Zeus has never faced before. Atom's changed the game. Now we've actually got a fight on our hands. We've got a boxer who has all the grace, all the style, and the flair of a human boxer, and that's coming from Charlie. And, well, to know Atom is to know Charlie Kenton.
Sweat, not circus. Conditioning, not coding. Heart, not hardware. It wasn't that long ago, but somehow we've forgotten. To get inside the mind of Adam's trainer, we must visit a time when humans, not robots, fought the fights. Charlie's road to the ring started early. His troubled childhood led him in a direction most don't recover from.
You know, it was pretty tough. My mom was not around for most of it. My old man passed when I was 12. Piece those facts together, it doesn't take too much of an imagination to work out that probably left the wrong kid with too much time on his hands, if you know what I'm saying.
Charlie used to be the kid that used to get beat up all the time, and then one day he fought back and realized he could fight.
In and out of juvie, Charlie was heading nowhere fast. But as fate would have it, legendary boxing trainer Joe Talent happened to be walking by a nightclub on a night that would change both of their lives forever.
I wish Joe was here to tell you that story. He tells it pretty good over a glass of bourbon. That's a funny story.
Yeah. Well, you know, I figured as a 17-year-old pretending to be 23, I had every right to be in that club. Yeah, I was a stupid kid, and I was trying to impress a girl, and I took a swing at a bouncer who was a hell of a lot bigger than me, and It was actually one of my better punches, I have to say, but his friends didn't agree, and so I got pretty soundly beaten.
Joe sees this kid rolling around on the pavement with like 3 or 4 bouncers giving him it good. And so he wails in there, pulls the kid out, and he takes a mean right hook off him as a thank you.
First thing he said to me, he says, first of all, you're stupid, but second of all, you got a good right hook. So, and he says, now we're going to work on your left, which is pretty much what we did for the first 3 years.
Joe took him back to the gym that first night. I don't think he ever left. I think that kind of became his home from that day forth. He needed somebody to believe in him, and that's what Joe gave him.
He probably saved me, well, probably from a hell of a lot of time in jail, I'm guessing.
Joe showed him how to fight from the head. He taught him about strategy, pacing himself, metering out his stamina, looking for his opponent's weaknesses.
It was frustrating. I just wanted to get in there and fight, and he wanted to teach me technique and wouldn't let me fight until I had it down. A lot of wax on, wax off, if you know what I'm saying.
I used to go and watch him box all the time because he was the guy, you know, from the neighborhood that was coming up that was really going to make something of himself.
Charlie began fighting in local matches, winning a series of junior belts across North America. He demonstrated real talent, imagination within the ring. By 1997, he'd won the United States Amateur belt, getting the nickname the Can-Do Kid.
Charlie the Can-Do Canton. Charlie the Can't-Do Canton is probably more appropriate. Now, you know, Charlie's a good guy. Okay.
Man, I remember seeing Charlie fight and him just, you know, really giving guys a beat until he worked his way all the way up to the top. It didn't work out, but, you know, in his earlier days of his fight, he was great.
It's so funny, man. I never got asked about my boxing career by really anyone while I was boxing, but I had a 24-19 record, which basically anyone who knows math knows that that's not really much of a career, and I got knocked around a lot.
I think if he'd listened to Joe more, he probably would have had a chance, but I think he was too stubborn to do it.
I suppose the distinguishing factor was every fight that I fought was a knockout. I used to drive Joe crazy. He said that I could have won at least a dozen more fights if I just learned to take my foot off the pedal, but that was just not in my nature.
What kind of a person does that? You know, it's pretty darn selfish.
The guys I fought, that's probably the thing that scared them the most about me. They pretty much had to put me on the mat, or it was, or they were going on the mat.
In 2006, Charlie fought Ricky Fannin, a fellow Texan with a talent for brutality.
Charlie was favored in that fight. I was a little bit nervous, you know, because he's fast. I mean, he's a big fella, but he's fast. I'm a little bigger, but he is fast. But I knew that if I just read him right, I could just pop, get him with an uppercut, just that one uppercut, bang, out, done. Put him out, he's staring up at the ceiling, and the rest is history.
Despite the devastating loss to Fannin, Charlie was offered a bout against title contender Nico Tandy the following year. It was a major turning point in his career.
Nico Tandy was a top contender. He was, I think, number 2 at the time in the world.
There was nobody betting on Charlie Cannon that night. This was a punk that he had to put down to get to Kemba Harris, who was the champion at the time.
He was on his way. He became the world champ for the next 3 years. So he was definitely on the rise, and I was put up against him to fight him. I didn't have a great record at the time. I got in the ring with him, and I just felt good. I just had this guy's number, and everything he threw at me, I could see. I hit him a couple of times, stung him, and I remember the look in his eyes. He was looking at me like, what the hell, this is not the deal. And from about around 3 or 4, we actually had a decent fight. It was a real fight.
I think a lot of people expected him just to put in a decent performance, do his usual, maybe fall in the 3rd or the 4th, and take the payday and go home. But, man, he gave Nico Tandy a shock.
I love boxing. I loved a good fight. And this was about as good a fight as I'd had. And I told him my emotion takes over, and I had him.
All he had to do was play the game. He just had to dance around him. He was ahead on points. There was no doubt about that. He just had to hang in there, and Charlie was Charlie. Had to go for the knockout, didn't he?
who cares? At the end of the day, around 12, he just clocked me out of nowhere. Came this punch, and that's probably one of Nico Tandy's best punches that I've seen. And I happened to be very close to the action, and he did not want me to get up.
When you look at the arc of his career, that was his moment. And I think a lot of it was downhill from there, unfortunately, for the guy.
The crushing defeat to Tandy would pale in comparison to the heartbreak that awaited him around the corner. Just months later, Charlie's mentor and surrogate father, Joe Tallett, died. Charlie was lost.
For a long time there, he was pretty much like family. He was pretty much everything to me. And yeah, it was pretty hard when he died too. But if he was here, I'm sure he would have told you that he saw something in me, but that I was not a great listener, and that, in fact, I know he would tell you that I could have been a lot better if Charlie didn't get in Charlie's way, if you know what I'm saying.
Charlie still had one more punch coming his way. The final blow to his career came from an opponent no man could beat. A growing trend in his beloved sport was brewing.
For a long time, I'd been hearing about MMA and the popularity of it. And so there was a definite sense that boxing was on the wane, and there was a sort of a growing disinterest in it. As we say in the UK, it wasn't putting as many bums on seats as it used to.
As a boxer, you know, no one even cared about us anymore. You know what I mean? We were having fights and no one was showing up anymore. We were just fighting for ourselves. We may as well just fight in a bar or something.
It seemed like the days of boxing gloves were long gone. It was all about knuckles and blood and brutality.
I was glad Joe Tallett wasn't around to see it, because, you know, he would have hated it. He loved the idea of the beauty of the sport, the tactics, and, you know, it pretty much became just really violent and brutal.
You got to remember, this is the time when that first robo-boxing scene was starting to come alive in Tokyo. And it sounded like a joke at first, and then we started seeing the videos on YouTube, and it got more serious. The sport had to change if it was going to survive. I think we all had to change.
Boxing was the only thing I knew. A lot of people within the sport of boxing started to move to robot boxing, tried to make the change. It's hard for you to understand, but when you're a boxer, it's everything. Everything since I was a kid, 12, 13 years old. That's all I knew. It fit me, the whole thing, the kind of person I was. Boxing was a fit. Robot boxing is different. It's not really a perfect fit for me, to be honest, but I could still put the clothes on, do you know what I mean? I could still make it fit.
This sport, it is an art form, a high science.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, right? What are you gonna do? You know?
I've had to evolve. We've all had to evolve.
I got my own spot, got my own bot. I'm hard to beat.
You know, believe it or not, I actually had a little bit of dough when I was boxing, and so I used that money to buy a robot.
Yeah, were you there the first time he said he was turning his life around? Or this would be the last time, so maybe it'll work.
I won't lie to you, I think I was pretty much a bit of a joke around the place. I found it difficult to make that transition, and I pretty much scrapped around for years, trying to make a buck, make a living, get involved with the sport. It was my son that really was a turning point.
He might just be getting his final shot at the big show, and I think undeniably Max has got to have something to do with that.
Max is really the one you should be interviewing here. He's really the key.
I think he has a talent. I don't really tell him this a lot, but I think he's quite a good boxer, and I've been reading about him, and I think that does affect our fights with Adam.
It was amazing, the moves that he was making this robot do, and just really interesting footwork and intricate punching pattern.
Atom is what I've been waiting to see since the end of the human days. This is what boxing's about. Atom made me a believer.
He's an old-fashioned robot. He's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, but he's quick. He can take a hit. And with Zeus, that's important.
A shot against Zeus. Adam against Zeus. Boy, in your dreams. In your big dreams, you know what I'm saying?
What kind of question is this? Zeus is undefeated.
Oh, I'm predicting a beatdown.
Let me put it this way. He's like a pinball machine versus a stealth fighter.
I mean, seriously, do you see the size of that? You see the size of the other one? I mean, I don't know.
I'm more excited about Saturday night's fight than I've been about boxing in a long time, and that's robot or human boxing, and I think we're going to see something extraordinary. The real steel belt fights are always the hottest ticket in town, and this one couldn't be any hotter.
I think we have a chance. Adam never gives up.
Max always believed in him, and if it wasn't for his stubbornness and his belief, we wouldn't be here at the championship fight of the WRB.
Te invito a que entres a www.tvlobo.com y ahí podrás sintonizar toda la programación de TV Lobo. Es así como nosotros llegamos a la parte final de este tu programa, Detrás del Cine. Mi nombre es Wendy Alvarado, nos vemos el próximo sábado a las 11 de la mañana.
Background. We on! How about that for ridiculous fun, huh?
My hat.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I want $5, like, immediately.
The places that let you fight this robot and make you pee your pants. And poop your pants, too. Oh, I'm not having you with a poopy diaper in my truck.
You know, if he was a breakfast restaurant, we'd have to call him IHOP. I love your pancakes, Ambush. Love your pancakes. We all, baby. We all.
Yeah.
All right, come on.
Got my line.
All right, don't worry about it.
Thanks, Big Pops.
Big Pops? Big Pops?
Big Pops! Looks like he wants to open him up like a can of tuna. There ain't no fish in there.
She's not the sharpest tool in the shack.
Shad.
Thank you. Wow.
What are you doing? You silly little bull. I love you.
Tell me, Poppy, stomach, please. We're gonna do a valve bypass to his auxiliary. Okay, wipe down his, the silvery stuff. Help me, Poppy's stomach, please. We're gonna do a valve bypass to his. Don't you laugh at me. I'm struggling enough. I say what's left of Noisy's voice. Net Rick. I say what's left of Noise.
I told you I hate hamburgers.
It's a burrito.
B mark.
Money to get a new buck.
I mean. Mother.
Ew.
Wolverine! Where are you now? That's in the trailer right there.